Whoa. It's like a little kid. You can give like rides. Hey guys, it's DT back with some more big unboxing action. As you can see, we have two big boxes here. This one's really big. This is a custom Killer Croc from one of my favorite custom groups. They're the same ones that did the Green Goblin, the Silver Surfer. I also have a Wolverine and a Thanos and Death that I still need to edit. And I have a very long PO list as well. So I'm looking forward to those pieces, but this one just came in today, and this is gonna be an addition to my Batman Rogue setup. So this one came in 2 art boxes. Usually with customs, sometimes you don't get an art box. Sometimes if there's 2 boxes, you only get 1 art box. But in this case, we get 2. We've got the Killer Croc drawing on one side, and then on the other side, we have this Gotham City sewers warning. It says, warning crocodiles, enter at your own risk. So let's go ahead and open it up. Let's start off with the smaller one. Maybe we've got a base in there. I'll take all the pieces out, and then we'll get this thing assembled. We do have the base in here. And it is a big one. All right, we got some straps. Oh, it's wedged in there pretty good. Maybe I should have had my wife help me with this one. Monstrous sewer base. I'll show you guys the details on that. That's it for this box. Time for the big boy. So before it gets too heavy, take a look at the bottom. They made 45 of these. This one's number 16. Whoa. Look at this beast. It's like a little kid. You can give like rides. I'm just gonna stick this one on since it's here. All right, pretty good fit. I think that's it. All right, guys, so here we have all the pieces for this guy. There aren't too many, but they are massive. So we already have the legs up here that I already put on the base. Then we have his body. We have 3 portraits. We have a little harness, and then we have the manhole cover. And I believe we just stick that on right here like that. So it's partially covering the hole with all this green sludge coming out of it. As you can see, this guy is massive, and he's got all these little spikes on him. Everything on the torso is already connected, his arms, his hands. And all we have to do is key him in like that. And pretty seamless connection there. I guess we're supposed to put this on. One goes back here, another one goes around the other side, and that just kind of fits in like that. So it looks like his suspenders are down. Obviously his pants aren't going to fall down. He has a belt as well, so I guess it's just a stylistic thing. And then we have the 3 portraits. These look really nice. So Killer Croc has been depicted as being a bit humanoid in some comics. In others, he's more animalistic, where he actually looks like a crocodile. But his origin story is he is a human being that actually has kind of scaly skin. But this is a nice combination head here. I think it's probably the most humanoid of all 3 of them. He's kind of got a regular set of teeth, and then on the outside he's got all these little pokey kind of teeth coming out of his face. Then we have the hardened scales on the outside as well. Obviously his body is a little bit beyond human here. This guy is massive. Luckily, I have another Bane coming from this group because this guy is gonna dwarf my sideshow Bane that I have. But before we stick on these other 2 portraits, let me talk a little bit about this statue. This is a quarter scale piece, meaning that it's a quarter the size he would be in real life, which is massive because he is actually hunching over here. So he's not even standing straight up, and this guy is huge. So hunching over to the top of his head is about 27 1/4 inches high. Actually, the hunch of his back is probably a little bit higher, maybe around 20, 28-ish inches. The base is pretty wide as well, maybe 19.5 inches. And then the depth of this piece, close to about 15 inches. There's this little piece right here of brick that kind of makes it an extra couple inches. So hopefully you have the space. I would have preferred if that wasn't there, just to give us a little bit more room for clearance, because this is already a pretty massive base. Most shelves might not be able to accommodate this. All right, so there are the dimensions. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this thing. So down here, we've got this sewer base, of course, very fitting because crocodiles live in the sewer. We've got some very nice red brick here with the oozing mortar. Looks like there's supposed to be something here. I might have forgotten to put something because it looks like something keys into the side here. So I might have to go back into my box and pull it out. Doesn't look like anything is in here. Sometimes there's like secret compartments. As far as I know, only his body is in here. They did include some little putty, I guess, to keep the suspenders in, because I can't see anywhere else that would need putty. But I do not see a piece. It looks like I'm not going to be able to show that part. I guess we're just missing part of the base. Not a huge deal. The picture looks like there's a little pipe that kind of just bends around there. Then we have this giant pipe right here. It's kind of cool. There's some really bright green, looks like toxic waste coming out of that pipe. Some sludge. We have some vents, some nice texture on that pipe to show its age. We've got the rivets connecting them, more green sludge on the backside. We have kind of this sewer floor here. We've also got these kind of broken up bricks that I pointed out earlier. And then up here, we can kind of see, again, the cross sections of this wall that's kind of falling apart. Up here, we've got a nice row of bricks, again, with the oozing mortar. And then on top, we've got more of this concrete that's kind of broken up, and it's got this kind of a greenish wash on it that gives it a very slimy and dirty look, almost like maybe some algae is kind of growing on it, being in a very dark and wet environment. And then we have the manhole itself, which has more of this like bright green ooze. It's kind of cool how this manhole is painted. We've got the green on the one side here, and that kind of gives it kind of a reflective look, as if the light was hitting this green sludge and reflecting back onto the manhole cover. Inside the manhole, looks very glossy, giving it that wet appearance. If I saw this in person, I would not want to stick my hand down in there. It looks sort of like an outhouse toilet. Here we have the Gotham City manhole cover. Got this bent look, but pretty cool base. I think with this one, there was actually an option to have a shorter base. So it didn't have all this other stuff, and it just had maybe like a couple inch platform. And that was to accommodate those that wanted to stick this in some kind of case where they had limitations on height. However, for me, the bigger the base, the better usually. I don't mind that some of my statues are a lot taller, and that way I can put some of the smaller characters in front without obscuring the view. This way I don't have to build a riser, it's already there. But very cool base. Let's move on to Killer Croc. First off, his skin is awesome. I mean, when it comes to Killer Croc statues, it's all about the scales, it's all about his skin, because that is what makes Killer Croc Killer Croc. And they did a fantastic job with both the sculpt, the texturing of the skin, and then the paint application on top of it. I love the way that the scales kind of overlap each other, all the little finer textures in there, and then they did a very nice job with all the shadowing. If you've seen an alligator or crocodile, you'll notice that there are a lot of subtle variations in the color of each of those scales. And I think they pulled that off with flying colors with this one. He's kind of got the black claws or toenails, and then we have the little wrappings on his feet, and we also have that green color up on the inside of the wraps and the inside of his leg. Then we've got his finely textured pants. We've got all these little stripes in here, which help contour the shape of his muscles. He's got these massive legs, the bottoms being a little bit frayed. Love the folds in there. The material is a bit shredded around his knees. And that's one of the things I didn't like about the Sideshow Killer Croc, was that they use mixed media, and it just comes off looking doll-like compared to something like this, where we get the folds where the folds need to be. We get the subtle changes in texture and colors, something that is very hard to simulate with the mixed media. And even though it is real, sometimes the material they use just makes it look a lot cheaper and less realistic than something that is sculpted and actually painted. We've got the black suspenders, which is a nice touch. And then we move on to his upper body, which is where this statue really shines. I mean, everything I've mentioned up to this point has been awesome, but his upper body here is what really sold me on this statue. And seeing it in hand makes me appreciate it even more. We've got the hulking, most muscular pose here. You can see all that reptilian skin. We've got sort of these little bone spikes piercing through his skin, all the little bumps and ripples on his back. He's got all the human musculature with this reptilian exterior. It looks really cool. He even has like veins that have scales on them. I don't even know if that's possible. Of course, we've got the abs, and he's kind of got this lighter shade on his underbelly, like we're used to seeing on snakes and crocodiles. And from the side, it almost looks like it's a tortoise head coming out of a big shell. We've got all this detail on these wraps. I love how they're all shredded. They're kind of intertwined with all these little spikes that are coming out of his forearms. His fingers look fantastic. We can see the big scales on the outsides of his fingers, and then we kind of have that reptilian skin texture on the inside. Take a look at one of his other heads. This one is a bit more reptilian, a bit more freakish. We've got the very long, sharp teeth, almost like venom teeth. He's got a bit more spiky details on the top of his head. And then the big difference is around the nose and cheek area. It almost looks like muscles without skin, or kind of his face has been burnt off. And then finally we have this screaming portrait. Again, he's got a change of texture on the top of his head. Each of them, I think, is unique in that way. This one has the protruding brows. His teeth are a little bit on the crooked side, not quite as sharp as the last one. This guy could definitely use some braces. He's got a massive underbite, a very long tongue to fill that lower jaw. I really like this screaming portrait. I think it goes well with the pose. I think it's between this one and the first one, just depending on what kind of mood I'm in. This one definitely looks a little bit more animalistic, and this one definitely gives a calmer look. I just like the realism in his mouth there. This is an amazing piece, especially if you're looking to put a collection of Batman rogues. It's been a while since they had a quarter scale Killer Croc. The Sideshow one, I believe, came out several years ago. It's sold out now, so even if you wanted to get it, you would have to get it second hand. And I'm thinking it's probably time for an update. I don't see Sideshow producing anything close to this one, however. Their bases are usually a lot smaller. The figures themselves are usually a lot smaller. I think if you're looking for a monster quarter scale Killer Croc, this is obviously the one to get. But there you go, awesome looking piece. I can't wait to get their Clayface in, who is gonna be even taller than this guy. Right now, I could probably put this thing with my other rogues, which are on top of my cabinets in my office. However, his back might be scraping the ceiling, and once I get Clayface in, there's no way he's fitting. I'm gonna have to do some rearranging, I think, in the near future with my DC pieces. I'm planning to actually try and sell some of my pieces off just to make room for the stuff that's still coming in. But as always, let me know what you guys think of this guy in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.